Hello, welcome to this video from Pirate Math Equation Quest for our multi-step word problem intervention. And in that multi-step word problem intervention, we're focusing on total, difference, change, and equal groups problems. My name is Sarah Powell from the University of Texas at Austin, and I am very excited to be your guide through this video, which is focused on one of my favorite Pirate Math Equation Quest activities, the Jolly Roger Review. Now, in every Pirate Math Equation Quest intervention session, there are 5 activities. With Captain Cards, students do a fluency review. With Equation Quest, students dig into the equal sign and the solving of equations. With Buccaneer Problems, that's really where the instruction occurs. That's where we talk about the UPS check squared and the word problem schemas. That's usually the majority of a Pirate Math Equation Quest session. Then we have the ship shape sorting, which is where we do a schema review. And finally, we get to the Jolly Roger Review, where we review anything that we've done in that day's session. So let's talk about this Jolly Roger Review. For you to do the Jolly Roger Review with students, you're going to need several things. First, you need the Jolly Roger Review. The Jolly Roger Review is typically printed on one page. Sometimes we will cut that in half and print it back to back, or you could also just use this one page. And I'll talk about what we're going to do at the top and at the bottom in just a little bit. But it's also going to be helpful for students to have a pencil to do the Jolly Roger Review. We're going to time the top half of the Jolly Roger Review for 2 minutes and the bottom half for 2 minutes. So it's often helpful to have a timer. And then students might want some of the additional Pirate Math Equation Quest resources that they've been using. For example, it might be helpful for students to have their Counting Up addition and Counting Up subtraction card. Maybe you want to have students have a multiplication table if they're working on multiplication and division facts. It'd be really cool if students used their UPS check squared poster and their total, difference, change, and equal groups posters. And if students are working on some of those multi-step word problems, it would be really helpful for them to have the multi-step word problem posters as well. So lots of resources that we can pull in here as students work on the Jolly Roger Review. So here are some examples of Jolly Roger Reviews. The first part, or the top part, is going to be a 2-minute activity, and this is typically focused on something that is related to fluency, whether that's computation fluency, or fluency with the schema equations, or fluency with compare sentences, such as those that we find in difference problems. But then the bottom part, which will also be timed for 2 minutes, that's where students work on a word problem independently. Throughout the rest of the Pirate Math Equation Quest lesson, students have been doing word problems with you, and sometimes if they're working in small groups with other students. But this is their opportunity to shine and show how well they are doing with a specific type of word problem. And so they work on this independently, and then you as the teacher are going to give feedback. So what are some of the things that we see on the top of the Jolly Roger Review? As I said, a lot of times students are going to work on computation. Here, this is from lesson 4, so students are working on subtraction and some multi-digit computation there. But by lesson 23, which we see right here, students are moving to work on multiplication. So we try to make the computation review align with what the students are doing within the Pirate Math Equation Quest lesson. Here's an example from lesson 9 where students are going to work on those compare sentences from difference problems. So here students would be bracketing these compare sentences, circling any words that help them focus on the comparison, and then identifying the greater and lesser amounts. Here's yet another example. This is from lesson 20, where here we're asking students to think about those different types of equations that they're using to represent the different schemas. So here you can see, write the total equation, difference equation, change equation, and then what would be the total and difference equation, or the total and difference equation with a combined amount that's less. All right, so here it's trying to get students to think, oh, P1 plus P2 equals T, G minus L equals D, and so on. So then as we think about the bottom of the Jolly Roger Review, students are going to set up and solve a word problem. Here is an example from lesson 4. Here is an example of the Jolly Roger Review, the bottom part of the Jolly Roger Review for lesson 29. And this is a student work example. So you can see that they wrote UPS check squared over here to help guide them through the word problem process. They underlined what the problem was about. Here they drew parentheses around important information and labeled whether they were going to use that first or second. Here they wrote their multi-step equation, then they filled in that equation, they did some of the math work over here, and ultimately they solved this equation to figure out a number answer and a label answer. So this is what we're looking for students to do as they progress through Pirate Math Equation Quest and they're independently solving these word problems. As we look at this example here, this is just another example. Here the student wrote UPS check squared there. We've got our equation. They've underlined what the problem was about. They drew parentheses around the important information, labeled whether they would use it first or second. Then they filled in that information to ultimately solve for a number and a label. So that is just a review of the Jolly Roger review. It's 2 minutes timed at the top, 2 minutes timed at the bottom, and then the teacher should give feedback on both that top and bottom of the Jolly Roger review. I want to thank you for joining into this video. I want to also thank the Institute of Education Sciences who has funded this important research. And we work at the University of Texas at Austin within the Meadows Center for Preventing Educational Risk. So I want to thank them too for helping us do this research on a daily basis. Please make sure that you tune into our other Pirate Math Equation Quest videos where you can learn all about our very cool multi-step word problem intervention with total difference change and equal groups problems. Have a great day.